presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I'm glad you guys have joined us. And we are waiting for our guest. He's calling from Ireland. Gosh, he might have gotten the, I don't know, he might have gotten the, missed the memo or the time zone. I don't know. But anyway, it's okay. We have Michelle Gray at thehealing-art.com. Aren't you proud of me, Michelle, that I actually got it right this time?
I am so proud of you. You nail it every time. Hi, everybody.
I mess it up every time. What are you talking about, girl? But, anyway, so, hi, Erik. I love you.
He says, hi, Mom. I love you.
I love you, too. All right, so look, guys. I just announced on Scalar that, the weight optimization will not work on morbid obesity, meaning body mass index is greater than or equal to 40. So he has to do a special service for that. So I mistakenly said, let's test these volunteers. But we can't. He doesn't want to take volunteers because it takes too long to see the results. He says, trust me, it works. And he won't let me put it out there yet, but he will eventually. So I can't take any volunteers for that. I'm others for that. We'll go ahead and take callers because, I love doing that. I really do. And I know Erik does too. And Michelle, you're so amazing. All right. First of all, I want to say prayers to Heather in Hartford because she is in the hospital because of the pain from her trigeminal neuralgia. So I want everybody to get together and send your prayers and healing energy, please. There's nothing worse than it's right up there with cluster headaches. Trigeminal neuralgia pain is awful. So,
we love you, Heather. We hope you're going to feel better very soon.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we got somebody from the 502 area code. Hi there. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
Well, that sounds convincing. I'm just okay. What is your first name and where are you calling from?
Brenda from Kentucky.
Oh, okay, Brenda. Oh, yeah. Brenda, I remember you. Don't I know you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, what's up, girl?
I'm just wondering what the spirits have to say for me tonight.
Okay.
Well, Brenda, Erik says hi to you. He's actually giving you a big hug. And he's letting you know that you're being communicated with. And are you wondering and questioning whether you have the ability to communicate or whether you're being...
I don't think I have the ability to communicate this.
You do. We've told you that before,
You do.
I think.
Huh?
You do.
We've told you this before on other radio shows, I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember if you're the same Brenda from Kentucky with the same gorgeous accent.
Yes. You do, because what Erik's saying is he says that there's signs being given to you all the time. And he says butterflies, not necessarily live ones going around either. They could be in books. They could be on pieces of paper. But he says that your guides are trying to communicate with you. And it's real subtle, he says. So you might miss the signs, but you're being told to pay attention. And do you have a mom in spirit?
I have a mom has dementia really bad.
So they're in and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Is she in a in a home right now?
Oh no, I'm taking care of her.
You're taking care of her? Okay.
Yes. I take care of her. I take care of her and my dad. He's 90 and she's 86, so I take care of both of them.
Wow.
You have a lot on your shoulders. Because there's a lot of support in spirit. And, Erik's just saying to really look at some of the signs that are coming at you. He says, you can get busy and sometimes a little overloaded, but you're being communicated with. He says, pay attention to the subtle signs. He also says to take a little time for yourself. And there's a little bit of energy that's up into your throat chakra that's being held in. and it may be someone that you need to communicate with, because it feels like communication also on the level of expressing yourself to somebody. So if I don't know if you have something going on with somebody, but I can feel it in there.
Is it about reaching out and having another family member help out with this, or like voicing your need for support?
Asking for help. Asking for help.
Nobody was willing to help. No. So I just try to do the best I can.
They don't because they know you're going to do it. They don't because they know you're going to do it. So sometimes you have to like enforce your boundaries and say, now you guys need to pitch in, okay? Or I'm going to have mom and dad sign over everything to me because I'm the good kid. I'm just kidding. Whatever. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No, I know.
Actually, my brothers and sisters don't speak to me, so.
Yeah, there's Erik says that there's argument or some kind of conflict that goes on in there. But and then that's real hard, because he says the heart of all relationships really is communication. But he says, the most important communication that you do have is the communication with yourself, and, taking care of yourself, taking care of how you feel, because even the energy that's in our throat chakra, sometimes we push down our own emotions, and we push down how we feel, how we feel in situations with other people, but how we also feel in our circumstances. And so he says that you're being supported by spirit, and sometimes you don't necessarily feel that, but he says that you're hard on yourself. So he says, see what you can do to take a load off and ask for help. And he says also means asking spirit for help.
Do you think that it would dramatically help her to get super portal work with increased vibrational frequency, or not? I don't want her to do it if it's not going to be a resounding success.
It would help, but Erik says there's also got to be a change of there's Paul now. Sorry. There's got to be a change of, he says, some trust.
Okay.
Some trust. But scalar work is always going to help to the level and degrees that it helps. There's, depending on what needs to change, there's responsibility that needs to be taken as well.
Okay.
For yourself, hon.
Yes. Okay. All right, I promise actually two people. I really need to get this one person here before we go on to Paul, who is now on here. But hi there, how are you doing? This is Elisa and Erik and Michelle. How can I help you? Before we take on our guest.
Hello?
Yes, hi. What's your first name and how can we help you?
Are you? I don't know if you're talking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, girl.
Okay, Elisa, we've been emailing it. Oh my God, I thank you. My world has been just absolutely crazy. So I wrote it down so I could make it fast and not take up much time, because I don't want too many people need your help. So in 2018, my mom died in January, or my mom went into hospice in January, died in February. Then March, I had a kidney stone and had to have surgery. In April, my dad had a massive heart attack, went into hospice. He did come out of it. In May, my house burned. June, then my dad came out of hospital. My husband started radiation for his cancer. 2019, we were back into our house. Then my husband started having IV chemo. He's been in and out of the hospital. Starting 2020, my dad died. Husband's on another new chemo. And I have just been... I'm at my wit's end. Like some days I'm not just strong.
Yes, let's ask Erik. What can we do? What's your first name and where are you calling from again?
Well, my name's Carrie and I'm from Iowa, and I purchased portal work.
Yeah, and it's Daniel, your husband, right?
David.
Oh, David. Okay, I knew it started with D. I can't believe I didn't know that. All right, so Erik, what can she do? What can we do to help her?
Well, first of all, he says he's just saying that you've had a lot on your plate. Obviously, a lot on your plate. He's also saying that you're a healer. He's talking about for yourself. He says some therapy, and I don't know how music plays into your life, but he's saying that sound, any kind of sound or any type of music vibration is very helpful in your own healing. And there's something connected to music with your husband as well for healing.
The musician.
What can we help, David?
Yes, you can. Yes. And so did you just have the portal work done not too long ago?
No, I don't even know if it's been done yet. At least I paid for it, and I'd ask the one question.
I think it's going to be done tomorrow, but go ahead, ask a question.
Well, I paid for that. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, Eric's calling this very timely, because that's part of why you're brought on tonight, was to talk to you about the portal work and to let you know that it's going to be helpful. He's really talking about music and talking about vibration, because he says that sounds of nature, I don't know if you have, like he's just showing like binaural beats, vibration, all of those types of things that will help in healing. But he's saying it for you too, to keep yourself grounded and to give yourself some medicine, because he says that it's just as important to keep yourself filled as it is for taking care of your husband. But the portal work is something that will help.
Oh, right, so awesome, because that's what...
Yeah, you have a question though, right, Carrie?
Well, yeah, my question. No, when I paid for the question, we needed to see or have him see a medium for help to help revoke some contracts or something, and he doesn't believe like I do, so there's no way he's going to do that. And I think, I believe he's at the point he's just kind of given up. Do you know anything about cutaneous lymphoma? How it makes all those lesions, so your skin's like you're burnt and whatever. Yeah. So he's just in agony, and so I think he's kind of given up. And I'm just, I spend all my time trying to help him every way I can, and just feel like I said, some days it's like I don't want to go on.
Erik, can we revoke the contracts with the super portal work, please?
He says yes, and he says, because this is being done on a different level. So he says that there's some things that are his responsibility for him to do. But Elisa and Erik and the Divine Team can revoke contracts without his knowledge and gets permission from the higher self for what's able to happen.
Okay. And do I have any crazy contracts or anything I need to do to start having joy and prosper?
Well, you've got some trauma, Erik says. So there's some portals that need to be closed there, and there's more than what you've experienced, but from when you were younger as well. There's some trauma in there. So Erik says to get in there and work on you, because he says, yes, we can help your husband. And he says it's always the intent. The intent there is to do good and to heal. And he says that we can help. But he says we want to really help you, because the focus needs to be on you. It's been on so many other people for such a long time. And this needs to be about you. And he says because lifting your vibration up and giving you some refreshment is what's going to make a difference in your household.
Oh, God, you just don't know what...
Carrie, let's see what the portal work does for everyone, you, your husband, etc., and then we can revisit things. Wait, Paul is on. Awesome. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Sir. And so let me introduce you. Paul, he's a publisher of one of my favorite magazines, Positive Life Magazine. It's been around since, 2008? 2009, right?
Yeah, 2008, yeah.
Golly. Anyway, he's going to share his journey as well as insights and teachings from the many spiritual teachers. You've interviewed Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru, Louise Hay, Lee Carrol, Teal Swan, Deepak Chopra, Braden, Joe Dispenza. Oh, I love all these people and many more. So it's like, wow. I can't wait to hear what you have to share. So go for it.
Cool. Delighted to be here, guys. Great that you can hear me there. So, yeah, the magazine began in 2008. It was kind of a bit of a dream come true. I was working in a corporate job, couldn't believe that I could actually move into the whole spiritual world and have a career. But I went to see a show with Deepak Chopra doing a talk, and I saw this title of this magazine, Positive Life, sitting on a bench with this kind of housewife lady. She was giving out magazines, and it looked like a bit of a pamphlet at the time. And she said to me, "I'm looking for a sales guy to help me sell the ads on this magazine." And I said, "I think we have a mutual manifestation moment here," because I could feel the arms, the hairs on my arms standing up. I was like, I was in the right time, you know, one of those vibes.
Wow.
Yeah. And the name really spoke to me, Positive Life. I was like, that's a great name. And it's a great point of focus, you know. And I just decided, I worked for that lady for a year, then I took the magazine over. And it really came full circle when it was about, I think it was 2010. And I had put a request in to interview Deepak Chopra. And he was tough to get. And I had a friend who worked with him, and she put in a good word, and he said yes. And I got his cover photo to put on the cover, and I remember sitting there going, this is weird. I was at a talk 2 years ago, and now he's on the cover. And the universe kind of full circle, baby. We're in, you know, one of those vibes. So real destiny thing.
Yeah. That's
so
amazing.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Eventually, I do want to all, you know, the salient points, like the top 5 things that you have learned from all these wonderful, very wise, I don't know what they're called, spiritual gurus or teachers or whatever. You can put your own name.
Okay, the great thing is they're all saying the same thing. They all have different flavors of saying it, but essentially they're saying the same thing. But I'll go through my tops, okay? So Eckhart Tolle, I said to him once, I asked him a question about hope, and you know, everybody talks about hope, and he said, forget about hope. He said, forget about hope, because hope is a projection into the future. No matter what you're going through in your life, no matter how tough it is, you focus on what you have. You have your breath. You are you've got a roof over your head. Go tune into whatever it is. You know, it's like a gratitude buzz, but he's all about the now. Anytime I chat to him, I always slag him. I say, is there anything else going on there? Is it always just the now? And he's like, that's all we have. It's the now. And he was so on that, you know, and that was, I remember when he told me that, it really spoke to me, because he actually has a voice, you know, his voice, it's very kind of grandfathery. The whole atmosphere in the sound studio kind of changed, and we were all like focusing on our breath and looking out the window, and he was saying, the sun's outside, the sky's out there, and he was bringing it right back to basic, but you could really feel this vibe of like the power in that. So that's my number one from him. Louise Hay kind of blew me away, because I couldn't believe she said yes to an interview, because she was, I think we kind of spoke to her about 6 months before she passed, and her favorite affirmation, we asked her what her favorite affirmation was, that of all the affirmations, because she's the queen of that stuff, and she said, all of life loves me and supports me, was her number one affirmation of her life.
Wow.
All of life loves me and supports me. Yeah.
Wow. Y'all, keep your lipstick out and write it on y'all's mirror, okay? There we go. Man, all of life loves me and supports me. Oh, God, that's awesome.
That was and that's coming straight from the Queen's mouth. Joe Dispenza sticks out for me because of the neuroscience, and his whole vibe is that we all have experienced traumas in our lives, and what he wants you to do is just get in there and create new neural pathways of joy and of peace. And he just loves activating your imagination and getting you into a space where you're just totally focused on this whole kind of rewiring buzz. And he really believes that if you can focus on love and peace and all those things for like 30 minutes a day, you know, he's a big proponent of meditation, that it will replace the trauma. He would not be an advocate, and a lot of them are not actually, of going back into the trauma. He would say replace it with new neural pathways. And that was the big teaching I got from him.
Well, I love his series. I can't remember the name of it, on Gaia. Do any of you guys remember what it's amazing, and it reminds me of some thing as Bruce Lipton's, you know, Biology of Belief. It's like, you know, thoughts create reality, people. Beware of your thoughts, and you know, don't think negative thoughts if you can help it. Yeah, you can help it because you're very powerful. And you know, just create thoughts, think thoughts that will honor your highest good, your greatest good, and those of others. But anyway, go get us Zaya.
You just mentioned Bruce Lipton, and I chatted to him recently about the whole, you know, his whole thing is epigenetics. So about that, the environment that you're in. Like, he discovered that, right? And he said he ran out of a room and he called all these doctors over and he said, no, we got it all wrong. And he's full of energy, this dude, you know. He's like, we got it all wrong. We're telling people the wrong information. And he was like, this is the right information. The genes are affected by the environment. They are not like this whole thing of it's in the family or it's in the ancestral line.
I know, yes.
It's not essential that you have to catch that same disease that's in the family. He was like, no, that's not the deal. It's like you can change it. You can change your DNA. And he was like, it was like smoke coming out of his ears on the screen when I was talking to him. He was so excited. And he discovered that 30 years ago, and he's still buzzing about it. And at one point I said to him, what's your life like there in New Zealand? What are you doing? He said, I wake up every morning, look out the window, and I say, I'm in heaven. This is heaven. This is it.
I dream of going to New Zealand one day. But you know what this is kind of all about? It's about self-empowerment. I mean, the whole construct that we are living now with Western medicine and even Eastern medicine is all about you have this disease, this gene is affected, all that. Instead of like, wow, you are a freaking powerful being, and you and your thoughts can change your reality, your biology, and everything. Really, everything.
It's so true. And I remember recently there was this. I'm fascinated by near-death experiences, and I'm about to interview Anita Morhani. Next week. She wrote a great book, Dying to Be Me. But I interviewed a few people who had those kind of experiences, and they're very, you can really feel the resonance of them. But this guy was saying to me recently, very interesting guy, had a near-death experience, and he said, once you upgrade the consciousness, the rest falls away. So we're just going to focus on, he said, you know, when you get a new phone, it just doesn't work on the old system anymore. You don't deal with the old system. You don't get involved. You don't say, oh, why is it not working with it? You just move with the flow. So he said, the human is going to upgrade to a level that all of that kind of crap just falls away. So don't focus on that. Move on. You know, that I thought that was an empowering statement, and that was coming direct from where Erik is right now. These people get to go there, spend a couple of hours there or whatever it is, and they download this information and they bring it back here. Like, those near-death experiences are amazingly enlightening for people, you know?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
That's so cool.
What about Teal Swan? What can you tell us about that one? I love her.
So Mike, do you know her work? Do you follow her a bit, or?
Oh, yes. I'm a big fan of Teal Swan.
So Teal Swan, we did a live event in Dublin a couple of years ago, and we asked her to come in, and we had a small, intimate crowd, so we only had like 100 people. We couldn't get any more in the room, and she came in. I introduced her, and I said, "This is Positive Nights. We call everything positive." And she said, "Why are you so obsessed with the positive?" And I said, "It's just a name. It's just a bit of fun. It's a focus point, you know." And she said, this was the moment that I really remember. She said to me, "What about the shadow?" And I said, "I was in the shadow, and I'm glad I'm back out of it again. I had a bit of a dark night of the soul thing going on for a couple of years." And she said to me, there's gold in the shadow. If you can go into the shadow, be with the shadow of yourself, and she said it's like a bogeyman under a bed. It doesn't really exist. And the more you sit with it and the more you integrate it, the more it falls away. Because a lot of us will run from pain and suffering. We're not fans of it. We always want to feel good. And I myself I've definitely lived like that. And now when something comes up, I say to myself, I got to sit with this. I can't run from this anymore. And that was the big nugget of wisdom from her. She loves that. She loves the dark. And she said there's nothing to be afraid of, you know?
Yeah. That's great. That is awesome. And what about your Abraham story?
Oh, yeah.
Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you that before? Remind me of that story again. What was it?
Well, I heard you have a story about Abraham, or there's something you went to an event, or there's a story about that you have.
Oh, okay. So they'd be my original dudes. I like them a lot. So I discovered them about 2005, and I used to call them on the phone because at that time they used to send you tapes, and I used to listen to their tapes and get total goosebumps. I was like, these guys are on it. And I rang them one day and I said, are you ever going to come to Ireland? They said, no, it's not going to happen. We're just touring America in the monster bus. Remember, they were doing all these tours, the husband and wife scene. And my parents live in north side of Dublin. And I said to the lady on the phone, yeah, but if I focus on it, it might happen, right? And she said, well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's our teaching. Yeah, but good luck with that, you know. 6 months later, I got a call from Hay House because they wanted to advertise. And Abraham Hicks were doing a show, unbelievable that they even did it, because they've never been to Ireland since, doing a show in Finglas, which is the area I grew up in.
Wow.
They came to a college there called DCU and did a gig. And I must have brought 100 people with me because I was a total Hicks lunatic at that time. And
everyone should be.
Say again?
Yes, as everyone should be.
Are you guys big fans of those guys, yeah?
Yes,
I am too, yes. Yeah, there's some really good teachings there.
Amazing teachings. And I remember one of the big moments from them was there was a lady in a wheelchair and her brother was there, and her brother said, this girl's in a wheelchair, you're all spouting this crap about feeling good all the time. You know, he was a bit cranky about the whole thing. What are you going to say to her? And everybody held their breath, and Abraham eyeballed the lady in the wheelchair, and they looked at her and they said, you're not feeling what he's feeling, sure you're not? You're okay where you are. And she started crying and said, her brother was disconnecting because he felt that she was in a bad spot, and they told him, you just look after your own energy field and she'll look after hers. It was a real hardcore kind of answer. You know, there was no easy spiritual healing there. It was just full on what they gave him, but it was an amazing moment. That sticks in my mind too. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
What would you say, Paul? So, like, out of all the things that you've learned, with all those that you've connected with, what do you take away that works with and shapes your life every day?
What a great question.
Great question. You're good at the questions. My God.
So good.
No. It's like the whole thing of self-care. It's like you're tending to your own frequency, your own vibration. And you are like, I have a practice. So things I have to do, like Abraham puts it very simply, focus on the things you love to do. That will bring you into a frequency where the universe will see you light up and say, oh, he likes that kind of thing. Let's send him more of that. Let's send them more of that. Let's send them more of that. And that's the most simplistic way of doing it. So if I'm going swimming in the sea, if I'm meditating, if I'm doing a bit of yoga, if I'm walking in nature, I'm upping my vibration, you know, and the universe sees that and responds to that. That for me is like a hack, you know, it's like a really nice hack into creating the reality you really want to create, you know. So that's my kind of, like, anything that makes me feel better. Like, I love breath work. Like, I interviewed Wim Hof, and I loved what he said. And anything that just uplifts your vibe is so powerful. And actually, what led me to you guys was, I remember it was Christmas and I thought to myself 2 years ago, I've interviewed everybody. How can I possibly, what's out there? They're all spiritual teachers. They're all saying the same thing. I mean, they're amazing, but I was getting a bit bored. You know, I was getting a bit bored. And I just said, can you send me anything else? And next thing I find that book. And it was like, here's somebody who's not here anymore. You want to talk to them? And I was like, what? And I think I emailed Elisa, and it was like, so each time that I feel with the magazine that there might be anywhere else to go, it's just somewhere else just keeps cropping up. It's like I think we're only at the beginning of where we can go with the level of consciousness on this planet, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's funny because Erik, I remember when we were on Positive Night, Elisa, Heather, and I, and Erik called you out for your hair. And it's funny because tonight when I was setting everything up, Erik says, "It's my man with the cool hair from another guy with some cool hair."
Oh, you're doing that so well. That guy never walked home in his life, like Paul has.
I loved when he said that. That would crack me up. I love it. I feel his energy. His energy is very beautiful, actually, very beautiful.
It is, and you know, he's really. Speaking of growth, he's really grown. And in my time of working with him, I have really felt him, and I mean, I grow along with him as well. So, because he's just saying to me, it's not just me, it's you too. And so we're growing together, but, you know, it's the depth of where he goes and how he's changing and the work that he's doing. You know, like he brings everybody in with that earth spirit, the understanding what you're going through, the real, the practical, and all of that, and then he gets right in there and digs deep and really goes for it. And it's just an incredible experience working with him. And so by no doubt, because he's saying that you called it out to the universe and he was part of it. So he's like, did you find me or did I find you?
Yeah, I know. That's a good point. That happens a lot, actually, doesn't it? When you're ready for something else, it just pops in, you know, and it's a match.
For sure.
It's a vibrational match.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. What? Sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
Well, I was just going to say, Paul, so for our listeners and everybody that's listening tonight, what inside tips, what advice would you give anybody for following their passion, for where they are today? What kinds of things, like, to make the most out of their spiritual path, or with, you know, what could you share with our listeners?
Yeah, so in terms of like a career path or something like that, I remember when I was in that job that I didn't want to be in anymore, I thought to myself, you know, how am I going to create? I wanted to work in the spiritual arena. And what I would say to people is that your mind can't even get close to what the universe can achieve. It just can't even get close. I mean, I was in a job I didn't like. I was led to the magazine when I met Deepak Chopra, and I took over the magazine from this Irish lady who owned it. And then I was also I was inspired to set up these events called Buddha Bag, and we would bring in local spiritual teachers to talk, and crowds would gather. And I started to, like, you know that thing about follow your bliss, and the support will come, the abundance will come, the money will come. Like, I didn't really believe that. I thought it was a bit of a platitude at the time. And then I started I remember once I did an event in town, and I put one a friend of mine on, and he was talking about sacred architecture. And 100 people came and they paid 10 quid. And I got 1,000 quid for doing something that I absolutely loved doing. It was a Thursday evening, and all my friends, loads of people I knew were there. And I was coming home in my car, and I was thinking, 1,000 for doing. I went to it was like going to a party, you know.
Yeah.
And I would just say to people that what I said earlier about try and get in touch with the essence of what it is that you want, and just feel that, and that's your only job. the universe will come up with stuff that will blow your mind. And just stay open and just never stop believing in that, you know? That's my big tip.
Oh, awesome.
That's good. That
You're
is awesome.
you're such a wise young man. Erik, tell us about Paul. Is he Darcy? Does he have tall, wide? I mean, what is he? I mean, is he obviously is he an earth angel? Well, tell us about Paul because he seems so wise beyond his years. Tell us about.
He said. He says. Shall I get out the list? He's shaking his list out nice and long, clearing his throat. And he says, "Well, Paul is an old soul. He's an old soul. So he says that you, Paul, have taken pathways in other lifetimes that has explored spirituality, that has taught spirituality. He says, in this lifetime, you've come here to be the pillar of light, to light up the corners of the earth." And he says the corners of the earth, meaning that you're connecting with people all over the world. And he says, you know, the spiritual teachers that you have connected with and will continue to connect with on many different levels, he says you've had many lifetimes with them. And he says when you were ready in this lifetime to make that transition into a conscious version of your spiritual past, he says that was like putting out a radar. Just like a radar went out. And he says, and your soul group, because he says many that you're connecting with are part of your soul group. And he says you just draw them in. And he says like a bug zapper. He's showing a bug zapper, like just drawing them all in.
Hey, Michelle, are you using a headset or what are you using? Because there's so much, I
don't know exactly what that is. Here, let me see if I can take it off speaker here a second. How's that?
Hello. Keep talking.
Okay.
No, it's still the same.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Let's blame Erik. It's like blaming the dog because I can't say anything.
We will. Erik, help us out with some of the energy here. Sorry about that, everybody.
I know it's probably the energy. You know, these shows, we do have a lot of spirits come in, a lot of high energy people like Paul and Michelle. So this just happens. So it's just what it is. Paul, you want to say anything else before we take callers, like how to get in touch with you? Anything.
Yes, absolutely. So we do events online, so people are welcome to come along to those. And the best thing to do is just go to positivelife.ie, and we've set up a couple of things. We have a members club. It's called the Positive Club, and you can join that, and that gives you access to all our extra kind of content. And because we've got loads of interviews, and we put them on podcasts, and we've got loads of different things, live events. So they'll all be streamed into on kind of host that on Facebook. And then you can also subscribe to the magazine there. So everything is really on the website, positivelife.ie. And I just want to say that getting the opportunity to talk to these people, it's like an incredible, it's an unbelievable blessing. You know, you got to pinch yourself sometimes.
What a gift.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And
well, don't forget, you're a gift to them too, because you are one of the key partners to help them bring their story to light and bring their wisdom to light. So, you know, you don't want to discount yourself. Of course you don't, I'm sure, but I'm saying it for everybody else, basically.
I suppose we all have to remember that, don't we? You have to learn how to give and learn how to take, you know, in a balanced way, you know. Yeah, it's like, I remember there was a beautiful moment with Anita Morhani, who I mentioned earlier, and she said, we're all connected by a tapestry. Sometimes when I talk to Erik, I've seen fireflies around. It's like this link.
Yes.
When he was speaking there, it was like the link of all the souls connecting, really special, you know. It's like the planet is just lighting up at the moment. I can feel it.
Yes.
Nice.
You know, it just as you said that, Paul, you know, something that Erik shows me a lot is when he talks about us all being connected, he will use, which I call it like fabric, but he uses these lines and he shows them going all the way around the earth like a grid. and each one of us looks like fireflies. You know, so it's so interesting that you said that. So I think you were really tuning into Erik there, because that's exactly how he shows it. Yeah.
Yeah. I always get a tingling in my heart when I'm connecting with him in some way. I always get that feeling. Well done. I want to say I think you're a beautiful mum, by the way, Elisa. I really do. Your relationship with your son is just really
I want to adopt you now. You're such a lovely boy. Any mom would be so proud of you. Can I be your second mom? But I do.
Absolutely. And when you guys come to Ireland, we're gonna show you the sights. We'll definitely hang out when you come to Ireland.
I love Ireland. Did you ever? I sent you.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I sent you I think I sent you my daughter Christina's. Our mother-daughter trip, Ireland.
You did. You sent me the photos. Yeah.
I haven't had time to watch it, but it's so fun. But yeah, I love the Irish. They're like the Texans of Europe to me. It's so nice, and it was beautiful weather. Maybe that's why they were so nice. I don't know, but it was such a it was such a great experience for us. And but I do miss Erik very much, and hearing you guys talk about him and how lovely he is, just to pull some heartstrings. Like I wish he was really freaking right here, sitting in my lap. But he's not, and he won't be. So that sucks. But anyway, I'm glad that I have people like you guys to be his voice and to help him carry the torch for not only him but others too. And I'm so grateful for that. So grateful, because I don't know what.
Yeah. I know. I can feel what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The physical thing is so special as well, isn't it? It's so special.
It's very, very good. But we don't want to dwell on that because I've done that for a while. I don't want to go boom, down. But it is, I will say, it's so uplifting to have people like you, light workers, to give not only my son a voice, but everyone a voice, all the spiritual leaders on either side of the veil. It's incredible, and it's so important. And now we have the age of Aquarius, and I have, I don't know if you guys seen it, but we did a interview with the tall white Adrian, who is a spokesperson, and he said that we're in for some big changes. Like, we will see things change, like seasons are going to be different, and leaves are going to change color, and our plants are going to be different. Just everything. It's just so freaking incredible. So y'all watch that.
Did you say it was the tall white? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think white. that comes out on Friday. I think that video does. Yeah.
Oh, I'll tune into that, definitely. Brilliant. And just to say, you mentioned Ireland there. Every time I speak to these spiritual teachers, they come to Ireland, and I'll say, what's the deal with Ireland? They say, this place is like a magical kind of preserved, ancient flipping, they say it's the heart of the world is what they feel. And I kind of think to myself, are you just kind of, saying that to be nice? And they go, no, I'm not saying that to be nice. I'm saying that because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling this ancient wisdom in this land.
Hey,
I agree.
It's the Blarney Stone. I know, whatever. It's funny. I thought I'd break my neck, but it's really a lot of fun. So, CE trip to Ireland. We need to do it. Full show.
Oh, that would be great.
That was so fun. God.
I'm in. We're in.
All right, y'all, just comments on this YouTube. It's going to be YouTube, of course. If you want to join us in Ireland, because I want to go back. And I want to fly Erik Cunnilingus. Lingus. It was so awesome.
I'm in.
We're all in.
Y'all did not get that tip at all. Okay, bye. All right, so, you want to take callers, anybody?
Yes, and Paul, please stay on the line in case anybody has
go
a
for it.
question
Anybody
for you.
wants to ask a question, delighted,
Okay, so we got somebody from the 949 area code. Hi there, how you doing?
Hi, it's Jeannie from Cape Cod.
Hello. Oh, Cape Cod. Wow. Beautiful.
Jeannie and Shay.
Hey, yes.
How are you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I know. He's a volunteer for the addiction program, but it's a struggle. I don't know what's hindering. If anything, if we just be more patient and have time. But Erik, is that what you want about? Yeah. Okay, well, Erik, what's going on? Because everybody else, the addiction thing has worked great. What's going on?
Is it with Jeannie had the addiction work?
No, with Shay. SHEA.
Oh, Shay had it?
He's going to kill me.
Sorry. He's addicted to his mom. He loves his mom. No,
he does.
Yes.
You know, he's like an Erik. We just adore one another. He's a beautiful soul.
Yes,
beautiful,
he is.
Beautiful soul.
Erik's just saying, I don't know how long ago you had this, but Erik is, first of all, just addressing the fact that time, divine time, but he's also just saying that Shay has to learn to have compassion for himself. And he says that this is a process. And so, like the scalar work comes in, he says sometimes things will work really quick and you'll see certain things, and sometimes you'll see a progression of a change in vibration or a change in thoughts. He says like a clearing, like a release. But he said what's coming up, so whatever the circumstances are that are coming up for Shay right now, are to teach compassion. And with that understanding, it's like turning a key. So it's like turning a key to unlock the doors, because he says the best way to explain it is like he's been primed.
All right.
So
does he need to learn compassion for himself? Or
he has so much guilt.
Does he teach compassion to others, or both?
Compassion for himself, and through compassion for himself will help teach it to others. But it's particularly to work on that for himself, because it's like holding something over himself right now, and that is like a block for the energy, because as soon as he releases that, there's going to be a whole lot that's going to rush in.
Some practical advice. What can he do?
What's wrong? He has so much compassion for others already, and it's almost.
It's over compassion. It's over compassion. Like to the point where there's
first, Shay, basically. So what can he do? Give us some really practical steps.
Well, he says, first of all, make some decisions or take some action for himself. Think about the intention behind things that he chooses for himself, because he does concern himself more with what's going on with other people in relation to what he gives, to where he focuses his energy, because he says really the work is internal. The practical work really is internal with his own mind, because there's a lot of releasing of guilt that needs to take place. So talking, communication. If he can release some of his guilt by talking it out, by speaking it out loud, to give himself that release, because right now it's holding itself in, it's ready to go.
I know,
and the scalar work is what helps that.
Yeah, I know, we've got the foundation, the skater stuff, right? But he's a guy. Guys are not, I mean, I can't speak for Shay, but they're not usually the most communicative. So is there anything else, any other way we could approach this where he does not have to be proactive, where we're like, a healer, or, that can clear energy blocks and throat chakra and all that stuff? Anything else that we can do to help the sort of work for addiction manifest itself successfully? I mean, I want real things, Erik, that does not involve him having to actually do something necessarily, because he might not. Okay?
He doesn't
and
have to.
Life? Is it related to another life? Does he need past, or future life regression or progression? I mean,
would he agree to talking to a healer, or no?
Oh yeah, and he has.
He would.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
Because talking to a healer after, I would be happy to talk to him, or to any healer. Denise is another one that Erik is mentioning, is speaking to somebody after the scalar work has been done, he says that would be really, because he may need some of it pulling out, and some of his guilt is connected to people that he knows, like so talking to you or other people in the family, or it would be difficult for him. Speaking, the other thing too for him, and Erik has mentioned this a couple times, is music, is vibration, helping him raise that vibration. What he's listening to would be like he says to listen to things that like sounds of waves, sounds of musical instruments, things that have lighter sounds to it would help him, like when he's sleeping. So if he can put headphones in, help work in his subconscious. But it would be because some healing work or some energy work would help him. And the thing is it doesn't feel like there's a real hard hold on him. So this is like just the right thing doing the click in his mind. I feel like
you're one little tiny feather away from.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
And I will do anything for Shay. I mean, seriously, I want to help him so much. He's my little boy, man. So we'll figure it out. So
I know you are.
I don't want to give up on him. I don't want you to give up on me or Erik or anything. So we will figure it out. Let's talk and we'll figure out. Michelle's awesome. I've had healing from her. She's amazing.
I'd be happy to help Shay. Be happy to. If you'd contact me, Jeannie, and email me, I'd be happy to help. Mm-hmm.
I will. He just, it's been 25 years of me trying to help him, and now he just feels like, there's always something wrong.
Well, if you could let him know, too, that I suffered with addiction.
Yes.
And I myself. Yeah. So I do understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you.
8.art.
So
there's
no contract. The bottom line is that there's no magic contract that could be revoked in that.
Contract for Shay. I already asked today. There's none that is irrevocable. Okay, it's just inner work.
Okay.
And it can be done quite easily, and we will do it. We will do it, and we'll make it happen.
It's a shift. It's a shift in the way of thinking, and so please do contact me because I really feel I can help Erik as I can. So that would be great if you could.
The people that are sometimes hardest to help, and Paul, you probably know this too, are the ones that give, and they give all their resources away, and then they don't feel like, whether it's another life that's done this or whatever, they just don't feel like they're enough to receive, back. And sometimes that's the hinge pin, the hinge pin, whatever, that will get them to a state of being healed. Right, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And Jeannie, just to say that we'll get stuck in and do a few prayers for you here in Ireland and send some healing vibes as well. To contribute to that.
Jay. Thank you, Paul. We're from the O'Shea's.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Come to the Channeling Erik event we have there. We can party with the Irish and have some.
Count me in, because when I went to Ireland, the love, and then we went over to Italy after Ireland, and they're known for that. And I was there an hour, and I looked at my show and said, I don't feel the love. There's no love here, not compared to Ireland.
I got bed bugs from Italy, and that's why I put this service on. I had, horrible, over a year worth of it reacted bad. It was bad, but I love Italy and love Italians.
Yeah.
And love Lago Lugano. I went with my father around all the Italian lakes when I was 16 years old with a bicycle, not a trike. I know it's probably, but it was so awesome. But Ireland, oh God! But I will tell you this: Guinness does not travel well, Paul. Okay,
that's true. That's true. You got to come here for the Guinness.
Travel well. It's not as good.
Guinness on top.
Oh, right. Right.
All right, you guys, check out Paul. We'll put his information here. I love you so much, Paul. I really do. I love you, Shay Hitchman, and your mom. I love you, Erik. I really do. I love you, Michelle. What's your last name? I'm kidding. Gray. At -art.com. Here I go again. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next weekend. If you guys did not get on the call today, there'll be a time. I promise you.
We love you too. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody.
Sending you all
Erik
love from
says
Mara,
love
and
you,
thank
Mom.
you guys.